Fathers are teachers, fathers are coaches, and fathers are mentors. Pops, as I called my father, was all three. We all know the relationship between fathers and sons can be complicated and occasionally messy. Ours was no exception. Charles Wadsworth has a famous quote that sums the consternation I gave my dad. By the time a man realizes that maybe his father was right, he usually has a son who thinks he is wrong. As I was recollecting my father's life, I reflected on our time together, especially in the early years. We watched TV, limited by today's standard. Lots of Walter Cronkite, Lawrence Welk, and Laugh-In. We watched movies like The 633 Squadron, starring Cliff Robertson, Moses with Charlton Heston, and his favorite, Midway, with Henry Fonda. The common theme of what Pops chose was really a metaphor of his life. Good will always prevail. He introduced his family to Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, and the big bands. He would often sing verses while we drove in the car. He loved music, just not the Beatles. Our father was a hard worker and a traditionalist, up early for work, but home for dinner. Dinner time was the one time we all shared together as a family. Our places at the table were set in stone. Outside of work, Dad researched genealogy ferociously, what I estimate 60 years. All of us have memories of family trips that included stopping at graveyards, looking for names and dates. Dad was always discovering new family connections. Family trees were his retirement specialty. These words were cemented in our heads. Did you know that your relative was? Dad so loved history as it was an adjunct form of predicting the outcomes of our country's future. Dad loved sharing what he learned with others. We all agree he would have been a great professor.
Because there is so many good things that Michael did during that period of time. That 8 years.
Pops loved movie nights, home movies, and slides taken on his cameras. Slides were his preference. Every couple of months, Dad would schedule a movie and slide night, inviting friends and neighbors. He was immensely proud of his family. What son did not have a Cox airplane their dad crashed? I was not an exception. Dad was very involved in my scout journey, even wearing a loincloth over a weekend initiation for the Order of the Arrow, an advanced Boy Scout club. Pops never missed a single football or basketball game from grade school through my junior college. And to listen to him talk to others about my abilities, you would have thought I could have gone pro. He valued character over pedigree, and he was no cynic. He searched for the good in each person and usually found it. Dad taught us that public service is noble and necessary, that one can serve with integrity and hold true to the important values, even if it had a temporary personal cost. He strongly believed that it was important to give back to the community and country. When I became mayor, he was proud in his own words. California was blessed to have 2 Mensinger mayors with a preference for my conservative brand over Aunt Peggy. He honored and nurtured his many friendships with his generous and giving soul. He taught us what it means to be a wonderful father, grandfather, and husband. Like most of us imperfect men, Dad was not big showing his emotions, but when he really liked something you did, he usually expressed himself well with a note or email. It usually started with, "Your mom and I are so proud." Well, Dad, this is my letter to you. It took me 59 years to write, and it's brief, like you taught me. Dear Pops, I can speak for the whole family in saying we are so proud of you. You taught us so many life lessons centered on integrity, decency, and keeping your word. You taught us never to say I because it forgets those that surround you. You loved us through all our challenging times. You were a good father, a great husband, and a servant to your many friends. You emphasized being humble and gracious. Most importantly, you were our Father. Certainly, we will all miss you, but our faith in Jesus Christ tells us we will be reunited again soon. So until then, Pops, God be with you.